Hello and welcome to the Up and Gunning podcast, the all new Arsenal podcast, and I'm your host Dino. I'm joined by Jack Dylan Carter, a hater of frauds and a lover of Mesut Ozil, and also a shitball boy. How are you, Jack?
Not bad yourself?
I'm good, thanks, mate. Also, James, once a massive part of Arsenal Twitter and now a struggling A-level student. You alright, mate?
I'm very well yourself?
Yeah, I'm good. And Harry, who I only recently met, and yeah, he seems like a nice guy, so yeah, here's his voice.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Yeah, so today we're gonna, as it's obviously the first first edition of the Up and Gunning podcast, we're gonna sort of take you through what's going to be happening in the future. And although we don't have Gulam, who I promise you will be on soon, we'll just try and get along as well as we can without him. So let's start off with the Southampton game. I think the one just gone by. Jack, what do you make of the game?
It was a pretty tense affair. Both teams not creating much chances, but I think quality just proved in the end that we can get through it and got the win. I mean, when Alderweireld went off injured helped a lot, but it's just good to get points on the board right now when you're struggling to find form and top class performances. It's just important that you get the 3 points.
Harry, is Aaron Ramsey a fraud or is it just me?
I'm hoping it's bad form, and based on what I've seen before, I'm going to say it is.
Yeah.
Much to the discontent of lots of people on Twitter who are calling him a fraud.
Yeah.
It's a tricky one.
You can't. It's hard, isn't it? You can't just turn that bad from that good.
My finger on it.
And last season was way too good for him to be a fraud.
I'd definitely give him until the end of the season before I make that.
And now, especially with Jack out, he's going to be playing quite often, isn't he? So he's got to get his form up. That's for sure.
Him and Arteta, that pivot, we look a lot more balanced.
Definitely.
When we have them together.
I think we all agree that Matthew Flannery's a bit shit. So I don't think that's really worth discussing. But any stand-up performers last night, James? Anyone you thought stood out and changed the game?
I thought Cazorla played quite well again. He seems to be coming into quite a rich vein of form following his good performances against West Brom and Dortmund. But Ramsey, although a bit criticised a little last night, was, I thought, getting slowly better and better, especially considering his form in other parts. And Giroud definitely had a big impact when he came on. Without him coming off the bench, it's hard to have seen how he would have broken them down even when they were down to 10. And it's a testament to the work of Shad Forsyth and the fitness team that he got back so quickly.
I'm a big fan of the guy in the background who was putting Tic Tacs there. Cheers. Also Laurent Koscielny returned, didn't he, Harry? Massive, isn't it? Since he's returned, we've been like undisputably better at the back, don't you think?
Well, I mean, we just look so much more organised and difficult to break down. I can only think of 2 times when they got in behind the defence, and both times. One of the times Koscielny got back to cover from the free kick, and the other time Pele smashed it over.
Do you know what I realised? I think our whole team just improves with Koscielny in there.
Yeah, there's something about having that security at the back. So all credit to Monreal. He did very admirably when he stepped in, but it's just when the opposition had the ball running at your back four, when there's Koscielny there, you feel so much more confident that we're going to deal with it. And as a team, I just think we look so much more solid, and we've just got to keep him wrapped up and make sure that tendon just playing again.
I certainly feel since the United game, especially when you look at the Dortmund game, because we didn't have Koscielny for the Dortmund game, but the side has looked a lot more organised defensively from losing the ball. There's a greater emphasis on the fullbacks getting back quicker and getting 2 banks in front of the opposition defenders, and as well a big part of that starts from the front as well with our defensive work, because our pressing seems to get better game by game, with Sanchez, Welbeck and Chamberlain doing a very good job on all 3 occasions in which they've played recently. And against United, that was the first time I can really remember an Arsenal side pressing in the fashion of a Dortmund or Leverkusen or something like that. And, it's good to see, and it shows that, Arsene Wenger although described frequently as such, is not tactically as incompetent as many people think.
I don't know. I think like it's something that's just coming with the players as well. Like Welbeck obviously is a player that enjoys pressing. We've seen it at United. We've seen it for England, and I think it's just a natural instinct of like the players like him, the Ox, and Alexis. But we also saw something last night that I thought I'd never seen. That was Podolski actually sprinting. So what did you think of his performance? Jack, we'll say Jack.
I was impressed a little. I mean, it's not often you see Podolski move 10 yards. So it's just good to see him come on. He probably deserved the chance considering he's not played much football in the past couple of months and he's been desperate to play. But it was made quite easy for him, and there was only 10 men on the pitch at the time. So he found a lot of space down the left-hand side, but he does put in a few good balls here and there. And Giroud's header nearly went in. It was a good save by Fraser Forster. So it's good to see him on the pitch here and there. I mean, he does pop up with a goal now and then, but he often needs the ball to fall to his feet in order to do so.
I think his usefulness is limited against stronger sides.
That's for sure, yeah.
Certainly until the last 20 minutes where the game's a little more open. And he's an effective player.
He's a very good transitional player.
Yeah.
If you want to play on the counter, he's good for
very big one-dimensional player.
Yeah, that's when you
to get started. Pull back, he won't be that effective.
I agree.
I find it funny when he cuts inside onto his right foot. It's just something.
He looks lost.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know, like it's just like an animal out of his habitat, isn't it? Like he's in on the right foot, he just looks around like, what do I do now?
The guy's got nothing about it.
There's the first ever Arsenal Fan TV reference of the Up and Down podcast.
First of many.
First of many, definitely. I think the Southampton game was obviously a good win for us. We could have played better, we could have played worse. Got the 3 points thanks to what some would say was luck with the injury of Alderweireld, but also I think we deserved it if you look at the stats we did. So now I think we'll go on to the Stoke game. That's obviously this weekend. It's a bit of a shit game, and I hate going to the Britannia. I'm sure you lot agree. What's your prediction for the game then? Who should I go for? We'll say Harry. Let's see what Harry thinks.
I'm going to go with 2-1 Arsenal.
And
being positive.
Yeah, but like, it's one of those games that every season you just think, oh no, I can't be bothered. James, what do you reckon? What do you reckon we'll see in terms of the lineup?
I think there's quite a good chance that Giroud will start, given that he didn't start in midweek. And I think, although he and Welbeck are of a similar height, and you think of both as physical forwards, in reality Giroud is far stronger than Welbeck, and therefore far more likely to better deal with Stoke's robust style of play, although they have slightly technically progressed under Mark Hughes. In the midfield, I can't see a massive amount of rotation. I still think Sanchez, Flamini, Ramsey will start, and it'll probably be the same back five as Southampton, providing Szczesny is still out. It's going to be a challenge for us because they had a day's extra rest, and it's a place we haven't done well at all in the Premier League era. 1 win, 2 draws, 2 defeats in our last 5 games there. But we're hitting a bit of form, and it would be a very important win were we to.
I know, like, none of you are particularly in the know apart from Jack when it comes to Ozil redress, but like, when is Shad Forsyth? Yeah, and I said Forsyth going to get Theo Walcott back on the pitch because it's getting a bit annoying now. I think.
Well, I think that one was done at England. He's scoring training for England.
Yeah, but it's just like it's a bit worrying because there hasn't been that much said, has there?
I think the difference is the injury he picked up against Tottenham in January is a different one to the one he has now. At the moment, I believe it's an inflammation of the groin. Which isn't to do with his ACL at all.
Yeah.
As was said, he did it on England duty. And we've been getting a lot of injuries this year, but credit to Shad Forsyth and the team for getting everyone back so quickly, because it looks like Debussy's coming back out of schedule. Giroud did.
Running to training next week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jack, any danger men on the other team that we should look out for?
Volkan is a little tricky player. I mean, Stoke's always a tricky one. I mean, players like Jonathan Walters seem to turn up against us and then we turn up against every other team. So something about Stoke, but every time I've gone to a away game, I haven't seen us lose yet. So and I'm going on Saturday, so I'm sure we'll win.
I don't recommend it, mate. You'll probably get eaten or something.
Yeah, it's like going into Mordor. Might not see me next week on the podcast, but I think it's just important that we keep the form going. I'm sure we will. I mean, this team is very lethal on the attack, and the pace we've got now is frightening. So, I don't think it'll be. I think it'll be a bit different to the other years when we've gone to Stoke. They're not as physical as they used to be. They play a bit of a different style now. It's more of the fans that are a frightening prospect rather than the team on the pitch.
The last word in the Stoke game that I'm gonna have is like, thank fuck they don't have a long throw taker anymore. Because every single time that ball went out of play, I used to be, oh my goodness.
That's interesting because Fabianski, especially, very dodgy from those types. But Martinez recently has dealt with all the crosses coming his way very well, and that's encouraging to see from an Arsenal goalkeeper, especially given the calamities we've had with crosses. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Well, whilst you're on that point, I think we should actually have a little talk about him because he certainly deserves a bit of praise. Since he's been back, he's been good. I think in the first half of the Dortmund game, he made that good save with his feet, didn't he? Helped us a lot. Do you think he's got a future at the club?
That's hard to say because neither Szczesny nor Spina are particularly old, and they are both ahead of him.
Yeah.
As goalkeepers, I think he's done very well. There's no doubt about it. But I thought his distribution on Wednesday night wasn't great. A lot of kicks long to Cazorla and Sanchez, who aren't the kind of players you want to be flicking it on or anything like that. I mean, he had 44% pass accuracy rate. Says who scored. So, but no, in terms of shot stopping and cross collecting, I have no complaints. He's pleasantly surpassed my expectations, especially given that my first memory of him as an Arsenal player was the 7-5 at Reading, where it was possibly the worst goalkeeping performance I've ever seen from an Arsenal goalkeeper. Do I think he's got a future for the club?
I don't know. To be honest, like, you know what you said about the distribution. I mean, I have to agree with you because I've seen a lot of people on Twitter saying that it was good, and I don't know where they got that from. Like, he's like Szczesny. He's got the good, like, he's good at playing the ball to the fullbacks. I've noticed, and it was even better when we had Sanya, the absolute beast, to win every header. So,
he would often kick to Sanya. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So I think Szczesny's distribution's better. But then again,
it's certainly come on, but I don't think it's on the level of Fabianski's, whose distribution is actually quite good.
Then again, though, I think Emi Martinez should retain his place until he ultimately concedes a goal, because I don't think it's very fair. Like, yeah, true, but still.
I think Szczesny, when fit, should come straight back into the side because he's our first choice goalkeeper for a reason, and he hasn't had the best season so far, but with game time, and now that he knows he's got competition, he will step up his game. And we saw at the end of the 12-13 after Fabianski got a run of games in the team and did well. When Szczesny came back, he raised his game to meet Fabianski's standards and go beyond that. And the emergence of Martinez is only a good thing because it increases the inter-squad competition.
David Ospina coming back to training next week.
Yeah,
that's only a bonus.
Our subs bench is gradually looking stronger game by game as players come back.
Jack, Alexis Sanchez looking a little bit burned out from what I can see. Should he be rested in the Stoke game or next week in the Champions League? What do you reckon?
Maybe not this weekend, but I think against Galatasaray, it's going to be a very difficult task for us to finish top of the group. Galatasaray in a bit of a dismay at the moment, so I'm sure any team we put out there could do a good job. I worry about his hamstring because we've seen in previous years players burn out very quickly depending on how hard they push themselves and the intensity that they play at. And his intensity is ridiculously high when he plays. He's always pressing, always trying to win the ball, even when we're winning 2-0. He'll press and he'll press and he'll press. But I mean, it's also down to the player himself to tell the manager maybe he's feeling a bit tired, because sometimes it's a bit hard to notice if a player's fatigued. I mean, for Alexis, that's his game. His game is to be high intensity and push himself to the max. So I think the player will have to take it into his own hands and maybe let the manager know, can I have 45 minutes off this game, because he will burn out eventually. He can't keep this up.
Although his goals haven't been so much affected, I think in the last 4 games,
his performances
since Dortmund, I agree, his performances have been poor and poor, and he's getting tired earlier in games.
Goals will always fall to him because he's always going to be in that position.
Yeah.
When you're in form, you'll find yourself in a good position. But he's been losing the ball a lot.
His ball retention in the final third is not impressive. I mean, if we're honest, it hasn't been amazing since he came, but it's just, I think, become a bit more pronounced now.
Yeah, it's not his job. It's not his job. His game is so erratic. It's just, I want to get forward.
He's a very direct player.
Yeah, so direct.
Yeah, it's a good thing though that Stoke aren't quite as aggressive, don't you think? Like, I think they're a bit sort of, they've toned it down a lot. Like, I remember Soler got a few injuries at Stoke, didn't he? And Ramsey obviously got...
In 10-11 he got injured before the Cardiff Cup.
Then all that rugby team sort of crap came up. And then but now under Hughes, I think they've toned it down a little bit. Obviously their nature is to be a bit more aggressive, but I think that's something that, and we can't afford at all to get injuries, can we? Like, we're absolutely fucked on that front at the moment. So
no, but hopefully the Galatasaray game will be a chance to rest players, because if we're realistic here, Dortmund are going to beat Anderlecht at home, and I know Wenger said there's only a 10% chance, of Arsenal winning the group, and we should go for it anyway. But I don't agree with that. I think we should rest players.
I think we've got the players to rest as well.
Exactly.
The squad has got a bit more depth now than it did a couple of weeks ago, so there is chances.
We can give players like Podolski and Sinogo a chance now.
Another player as well, I think that people are sort of pleading Wenger to play, and I'm not sure if I sort of agree with these people, but Joel Campbell. Harry, what's your take on him, and do you think it's something on the training ground that Wenger's seeing that he's just not as good as the others and that's why he's not playing him, or just the squad size and players in his position, or what do you think the problem is there? Because he's not really getting a chance, is he?
There must be some problem, because he's played less than 2 hours of football for Arsenal so far, so there must be a problem. But every time he's played, he's put in a decent shift on the flank. I mean, he's not going to have the quality initially in the Premier League. He's not going to be able to, make that difference initially. Maybe FA Cup might be a good opportunity to lead him into the side, see what he can do. But as long as we have players, different internationals, more experienced and fine-tuned to the Premier League ahead of him, I'm not too bothered about whether Joel Campbell plays or not.
Yeah, fair dues. I think we should leave the Stoke game there. I just want to get predictions. I think, I can't remember, one of you gave us a 2-1 prediction, but we'll just go through all of you. So Jack, what were you going to go for?
2-0 to Arsenal.
Harry?
2-1 Arsenal.
Yeah. And James?
1-1.
Ooh, 1-0, a bit negative. Don't like that at all. Alright, should we leave the Stoke game there and go to the Galatasaray game then? Yeah, so off we go. Do we go for it? I think we're sort of pushing towards the play a weekend side and get the second place in the group. Any of you guys disagree and think we should go all out and just hope Dortmund lose?
You might as well.
Well, I think
I'd say go for it, but rest the players.
Yeah, but the thing is, I think in a way, playing with your best players consistently, if they're at tip-top fitness, then it sort of helps the cohesion and the team spirit in a way and understanding. So there is an argument against it, but I think it would just be stupid, really, wouldn't it?
I think certainly against Southampton, we looked, even though with the extra day's rest, we looked a little lethargic and jaded, as Wenger said in his post-match conference. And I think, we play on the Saturday, after home to Newcastle, who've hit a decent run of form. I think again that'll be a tricky game. And to be honest, the Galatasaray game is of little importance because of the high probability of Dortmund winning. Because Dortmund, apart from playing us at the Emirates, have been imperious in the Champions League, despite their domestic problems. And I think we've just got to acknowledge that we're going to come second in this group and adapt to that. Not that it's Wenger's way.
Wells announced himself as that guy, and I know Harry's going to probably slate me for saying that, against Galatasaray in the game at the Emirates. And they looked pretty shit when we played them. So do you think it will be as easy this time round, or do you think...
their manager, Cesare Prandelli, just got sacked.
Got sacked, yeah.
That could go both ways, though, couldn't it?
It introduces an element of unpredictability.
They were underperforming when he was manager. They might have had a kick up the arse, I don't know. They might just be in complete disarray, we'll have to see.
Hopefully the latter, innit? And any danger men? Maybe Wesley Sneijder, even though he's past his sell-by date, obviously. He's not the Sneijder that could have won the Ballon d'Or.
But he's always got that quality.
No, he showed that in the previous game. He tried to pull the strings and he was playing a bit deeper, but
they threw it in the back.
Yeah, they're not too bad in the Turkish league, though. They are second at the moment.
But to quote Righty, the Turkish league is bobbins.
It is bobbins, but Besiktas, I think, has quite a lot of trouble. So I mean, the biggest thing will be the atmosphere.
Yeah, I mean,
very loud.
Turkish teams generally do quite well at home, but if you look at our last two performances in Turkey, we beat three. We drew to Besiktas, beat Galatasaray, and stuffed Fenerbahce.
Also, they got absolutely stuffed by Dortmund.
Yeah.
Hopefully, Felipe Melo doesn't play, because he almost took out Sanchez, didn't he?
That was a dreadful.
That's awful.
Oh mate, I was shitting it when that tackle came in.
The worst one was Gary Cahill.
Yeah.
Let's not get on that.
Wenger, go on, son. Anyway, Galatasaray game. What more should we say about it? I think it's not really a game that's really like as important as a league game at the moment, is it? Because we're through.
I agree. The league for now is the main priority until the knockout stage draw takes place.
I mean, if we do draw Bayern Munich or Leverkusen in the last 16, so be it. But we're going to have to beat one of them to get to Berlin 2015. Not going to make much of a difference.
I think what was I going to say? But we could, on the other hand, get someone like FC Porto. I know we say that every year, and we always get Bayern or Barca. But like, if we do, that would just be quality, wouldn't it? I'd love that. Galatasaray game, as I said, is not exactly something that has a lot to be spoken about. So let's go on to our next topic of the one and only banner of West Bromwich Albion, the Hawthorns banner, of course, that's been on every Arsenal fan's lips recently. Jack, what did you make of it? Like the way that they got their message out?
Well, I wasn't too fussed, to be honest. I mean, I'm a big advocate of Wenger and Wenger in, but I mean, they're allowed to, I guess, vent their frustration at him, and that is their opinion. I mean, throughout the whole game, they did cheer and they were supporting the team, and once the game's over, they have a little protest. I mean, it's nothing huge. It's not damning to the club. I mean, we've seen it 3 years ago at Brighton. That's when it first came out, that banner. So I mean, it's not too big. I wouldn't take it out of like huge proportion.
I just think, being realistic, is Arsene Wenger going to get sacked?
Never. No, he won't get sacked, and there's no point sacking him in the middle of the season.
It's fairly pointless.
Yeah.
But
everyone's entitled to an opinion. That's my point.
They've gone to Birmingham. We've ground out a half-court win. The players are going over celebrating. You get that, and it just tarnishes it. It really does. It's not necessary, because there's not going to be an immediate.
That's what we said on the Copcast.
Immediate resolution.
I agree with Harry.
It's stupid.
I think maybe if we'd lost the game, then it would have found more sympathy and would have been more poignant. But after winning a game, it just seems bitter. A lack of support behind the club. And I doubt that was their intention, but that's the way it came across.
Especially after the Dortmund game as well, which was like a good performance.
Honestly, I mean, we beat one of the best teams in Europe with probably one of our best performances. They've got undoubted class despite their struggles in the league.
Yeah, but
interesting
still,
to see
like,
if they bring it out on Saturday because they can't bring it at home games. So
no, because the stewards will shut them down.
Yeah, apparently, yeah. I saw actually at the Dortmund game when. Sorry, whoever I interrupted, but at the Dortmund game, there was a little conflict in the clock end where I was. I don't know if any of you lot saw it, 'cause I know a few of you go to 26, but there was a geezer shouting. Well, there was I think probably old teenager, maybe young adult, well, young 20 plus, shouting Wenger out, and then there was like a proper grown man singing Arsene Wenger's Magic, and it went on for about a half of the game. So it can't, like, if the players hear it and if it does like get bigger, it can't help the morale of the team, can it? Like this instability.
To quote, I hate to do this, but to quote Mo from Arsenal Fan TV, the 90 minutes are sacred. From his pathetic Eastbound process. But the 90 minutes are sacred. You know.
Yeah.
We just want Arsenal to do the best they can. That's an unwanted distraction. I mean, only chance of encouragement, really. What we're there for, to be the 12th man, not to be arguing in the stands.
I agree.
The manager should be there.
Sorry for being off topic, yeah, but the fact that I'm the host, does that make me the equivalent to Robbie? You got.
I met Robbie the other night.
I saw the merchandise man in the betting shop earlier. Well, it was quite surreal. He was wearing headphones. I think they're like he goes to sleep in headphones.
I think Jack would be cool.
Who'd be your favourite to meet on Arsenal Fan TV? Like what person? Will you Bully?
No, Chris Hudson. I like Chris Hudson. I think Chris Hudson makes a lot of sense despite his rant after we lost to Aston Villa. I think he talks quite a bit.
I think a lot of them on there contradict themselves within the space of 10 seconds.
Of course.
Yeah.
I think I'd like to meet. Well, I've met Billy, spoken to Billy, asked him to do something, and then he just told me about how he doesn't like Arteta. Maybe Claude, Claude seems to be a passionate guy.
He's just like, I don't know, like that uncle, isn't he? Like,
he just loves the club.
Yeah, there's something about him that's just... he makes me laugh so much. Like, I was watching the pre-West Brom game, and he was like, "Oh, I only got 2 hours sleep." It's just all those little things that just make me laugh. His life is so.
What about Mr. Are you more committed than me?
Yeah, merchandise man.
I mean, who does that? He must be 30, 40 years old.
He was definitely drinking nothing out of that bottle as well. So we've gone a bit off topic. So let's get back on the banner, which was, as we just said, controversial. But if you're talking to me about it, I'd say that if you're gonna get your I know it's hard to get your thoughts out, and obviously Arsenal can't censor or like stop people getting their thoughts out because that's just not fair. But at the end of the day, like we've said, you've just won 2 games. And you're starting to build up some momentum. And when your players go to the away stand and see that, it's not going to be good for them. Especially players like Sanchez, who probably signed like partially because of Wenger. So like, it's weird, isn't it? Like, imagine what he was thinking. It can't be impressive.
Well, but he probably doesn't speak or read English properly yet. So
yeah, true. But
I don't think that really matters to him.
Yeah, that's an example though. but like, if it's the last away game of the season, I think someone said it on one of the podcasts I was on recently. Then fair enough, and you're struggling, etc. Fair enough, but give them a chance. I mean,
exactly. There's a time and a place.
Yeah, exactly. So, should we go on to the questions that we've got?
Shoot.
Well, yeah. Let's get them up then. I think our first one is from. Who should we go for? Have any of you guys? I don't know. It's tricky. All right, here's a good one. So yeah, simple, but we'll start off with that. There's 2 of the same one basically. SBX11 said, who would you sign in January? And Harry said, who are Arsenal... Harry CFC _ is a Chelsea fan. Who are Arsenal likely to go after in January? So, yeah. Any of you guys want to start us off?
If I had... Go, Harry.
It's got to be either both a defensive player and defensive mid. We just look light in those areas. It's as simple as that.
Any names?
Schneiderlin.
Schneiderlin would be ideal.
Pure defensive mid.
Again, Khedira or William Carvalho would also be good. I think a defensive midfielder is a bigger priority.
Isn't Khedira to Bayern done? I think. But...
I don't
I'm not
know.
sure about that. I haven't heard that.
No.
But I think a defensive midfielder is more important than a centre back because that defensive midfielder will be starting, whereas the third choice centre back will only be put in the team as a victim of unfortunate circumstance.
I agree entirely. Who should we go to next? There's a few on Aaron Ramsey's form, so I'm not gonna I'll say all the questions that we got, and I know we've brushed on it. We'll start off with James. What do you think is the reason for it? Do you think it's just a lack of confidence or a blip?
Maybe a little bit lack of confidence, but I think he hasn't been fully fit until the last fortnight because he got that injury on Wales duty, which I think really impeded him. And the 4-1-4-1 formation we tried at the beginning of the season didn't help because he was playing in a slightly more advanced position compared to the double pivot he played in the 4-2-3-1 last season. So there wasn't enough space for him to run late into the box, which is how he scored so many of his goals. I think as well, he seems to play better with Giroud in the team than Welbeck. His goals against Everton and Palace early in the season came with Giroud on the pitch. I think they do link up well, as they did against Southampton when they had a 2-on-2, which Ramsey slipped and Forster made the save. I think he'll come. He may not reach the heights of last season, but I certainly think he's got it within him to still improve as a player.
So you reckon the role is a big part, and also the fact that Giroud's out of the team, which I think is fair enough. I think with Giroud, I think his back to goal is often very beneficial for the midfielders. Isn't it?
You saw on Wednesday night. I think Sanchez played it into him and he slipped it to Welbeck.
That was
the first time,
lovely.
and then the shot was saved by Forster.
Yeah,
and that's the kind of stuff that we didn't have the entire game until he came on.
Yeah, definitely. What I think about Ramsey is just if I was Wenger, and it might sound a bit naive, but I would say to him, look, go out there, and I want you this game, any upcoming game, to complete 90-something% of your passes. Keep it simple, get the basics right again, and then you can push on from there. Because at the moment, there's times when you just can't even play a 5-yard pass, and it really does stop the flow of our attacks. And it's even when it's a pass to Sanchez out wide, it'll be a bit behind him, and then the defenders will get back. It's just it really is quite frustrating. Anyone else got anything they'd like to say on it?
Well, it's interesting you say that because looking at Ramsey's stats,
I thought he was quite good the other day.
His passing percentage rate has
gone up.
improved hugely from last season.
He's certainly
sure
improving.
As a result of more negative passing, or whether it's just got better. But I agree that it doesn't appear better. He is making more errors, but the stats say his passing's got better, so it
was around 86. I think it was 86 is
86.5% on Wednesday.
So it's not too bad, especially considering most of the time he's trying to play a forward ball. But I think he is a big confidence player. You can see from last season he's driven by goals at the early stages, and just as he's Wenger's probably had a word with him, he's settled down a little. He's playing the basics a lot better, and he's just doing that role for box-to-box midfielder rather than being so desperate for a goal as he was earlier in the season. Yeah. I mean, he had this obsession with goals, it looked like, and he's just toned it down once we've come back to this 4-2-3-1.
Especially since Arteta, 4-2-3-1.
Yeah, it's a bit weird, I think, because like you say, the stats imply that he's been even better this season, even though his tackling has got worse. But there's definitely I don't think anyone can argue with the fact that he's been nowhere near as effective, and it's I think for me it sums up the fact that like scorer comparisons and stuff like that are basically irrelevant, and it's just a bit annoying. They're all over my timeline and stuff. But yeah, that's for a different day, different conversation for a different day. So let's leave that out. Let's go to another question then now. Let's have a look. We'll go to that Guna who said, why do you think there's almost been a sudden turnaround in our play since the Dortmund game that's led to us winning 3 on the bounce? I think, firstly, to start us off simply, it's a confidence thing. When you win a biggish game like that, and yeah, Sanogo scores, by the way, then you know something's going right for you when the post plan finally delivers. Anything you lot have got to say on that?
Kudula, his return to form has been very crucial. He's been instrumental, especially against Dortmund and West Brom, the best player in both games. And then obviously the return of Koscielny. So those are two individuals that made things get better. But as you said, a confidence thing for the team. Once you get one clean sheet, one win, leads on to the next, and hopefully we can only push on from here.
Go on. I'll let you.
I think certainly since the United game, in the manner we conceded that second goal with about 30 minutes to play, there's been a shift to be more conservative in our play, and we defend, as I said earlier in the pod, we defend much more as a unit in the last 3 games. We look more solid defensively, and of course the return of Koscielny massively helps in that, because it makes Mertesacker look much more comfortable, and it means Monreal can play left back with Gibbs' injury, and that really helps. I just hope we're not pushing Koscielny too hard too early with his Achilles.
Yeah, it looked a bit. I think there was a few moments in the Southampton game, wasn't there, when he sort of looked a bit like I don't know, niggly sort of. You know what I mean by that? Like he didn't look quite on point, like when he's sprinting and stuff like that, which is quite upsetting to see, because he's obviously like one of the best centre backs in the world when he's on his day. Hopefully we'll see that day again. And I haven't really got doubts, but this isn't a question. But I sort of think, even though I called him crap earlier in the show, that Matthew Flamini has improved quite significantly in recent games, probably due to Koscielny behind him making him look good. But what do you guys make of that?
I think it's probably because we've kept the ball so well in recent games. When we don't have the ball, there's so much pressure on him, like, to sit in front of the back four and win every tackle and get to every loose ball. And now we're keeping the ball a lot better. I mean, there's less pressure on him. It makes the game a lot easier. So I don't think he's improved a lot. It's just the whole team's improved, which in most cases, then every player on the pitch looks a lot better if the whole team's playing better.
Yeah, and while we're on the subject of holding midfielders, obviously Arteta's legs are going, so we can't rely on Arteta, and we obviously need one. But I don't know how you guys' knowledge on European football goes, and I'm sure it's good. But who would be your ideal, obviously realistic, like signing in that role?
So I've always been on the last Bender bandwagon. I think, but Schneiderlin's performances this season, he's taken it up a step. I just think given his Premier League experience, I think he'd fit in perfectly.
He's excellent, but I think it's gone quiet on the William Carvalho, hasn't it? On that front, I think he'd be quite convenient because he can play centre half as well.
Carvalho's a hard one though, because not only is he not as technically good as Schneiderlin or Arteta, which is important in a side that has the ball for most of the game, he's also got third-party ownership, hasn't he?
Yeah,
which we'd have to buy out, which would massively increase his price.
I think they're close to sorting that out. It's going to be.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah. So if they get that sorted out, then maybe a move could be on the cards. But
I think if you want an Arteta with legs,
that's all we need.
You could go with Jurgen Gabay. Because he is the same sort of build as Arteta. He's very good at distributing the ball from the back, and he's got good ball retention.
He has been playing horribly for PSG this season.
Yeah, but if you get him out the right, he is there. Then he is very similar to Arteta, and he hasn't got more legs than him. But obviously, if you want physical presence as well as ball distribution, ball retention, then Schneiderlin's your man.
I like Bender as well though. Like you guys said, I think
Bender would be.
he just does not stop running, does he? And
He's a leader. He's a leader as well.
Yeah. I think I don't think we lack them at the moment. To be fair, I think Mertesacker is a good leader. You got players like Sanchez leading by example. You got Arteta when he plays. Obviously, not going to be as often if we sign a holding mid, who talks a lot as well. I think, and it's unpopular, and I haven't said it before, but I think our future captain could be Kieran Gibbs because he's just so professional and solid and consistent. And I'm quite biased towards Gibbs. I've always liked him a lot.
That's interesting because
have been captains in history. Not many. I guess
I still think Wilshere will eventually be our captain. I mean,
I wonder if he's too hot-headed.
Yeah, but Vieira was there.
He's very young though. He's still quite young.
That's true.
He's got a big temper.
If I say anything else, Jamie Kogu.
Jamie Kogu.
I get pissed off at me. Obviously, he's got the passion, and he's been at Arsenal since he's 8?
9, yeah.
9.
He is the.
But have you seen the stats that Righty or Mert Woodard keeps on finding that our record without Wilshere is much better than our record with him.
They do that for a lot of players. I mean, I hate to say it, but I've seen it with Ozil before. I mean, when the
didn't we win 29% of our league games without Ozil last season?
That's terrible, man.
Yeah, but this season the stats gets brought up all the time. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, if you're playing Wilshere a lot deeper, then it's minimised the chances of getting injuries.
I don't see Wilshere as being the defensive midfielder though.
That's
no matter if he plays.
It's tough. I mean, you need a player who works a lot hard around him. You can do a lot of running around them. And Henderson is so good for England, but I don't think you can have that at Arsenal. It just won't work. Yeah, he's a workhorse. Yeah. That's what he's there for. But I'm not sure at a club like Arsenal you can have that.
The guy's got nothing about him. Anyway, that was actually our next question. It was from Parky. We don't want fraud questions. That's a bit far. Anyway, he was going to say is Wilshere capable of flourishing in a deeper role, especially in a pivot alongside Aaron Ramsey, but I think we've covered that. And
not if he becomes, not unless he becomes more positionally disciplined,
which I can't see happening in the foreseeable future. So I think we'll just go for our last question, which is a fairly open one. Do you think we get enough home support? So, for me, someone who's been going since the first season that the Emirates opened, I think it's improved year by year, and I think it's continued to improve this season as well. So that's good. But if you ask me, essentially, I don't think it is, because I think when I've been to 1 or 2 away games, I've been to other teams' grounds, I think they make more noise than us, which is unfortunate, considering how many fans we've got and all that.
Yeah, obviously the ticket prices mean you're going to get more middle-class people going who are less likely to create a good atmosphere. But the ticket prices, as much as we hate them, are a necessary evil to fund our club.
Yeah.
And if poor home support is the price we have to pay for financial well-being, then I think so be it. Because obviously, I'd like to have a brilliant atmosphere every game, but in the modern world, I think football atmospheres are generally getting worse and worse.
Prehistoric banter is not acceptable in a modern world. I second that completely, because this ticket price thing is something that's going around the whole country, but there's definitely a reason for it. I don't think all this it's for the owner's new house and all that sort of crap is actually that true, and I think
we're a self-sustainable club and we rely on them.
Yeah.
Everything in London is expensive.
Yeah, exactly.
Across the board, you're always going to get expensive things. You can't just.
Yeah, I mean, money per game. Tottenham have the most expensive tickets in the league.
Really? I didn't know that.
Because our season tickets count for 26 games, and I think theirs count for 21 or 22.
Well, I think I'm getting in for a tenner and £25 for the big games, so I'm not complaining at all. I like the introduction of the online enclosure.
Yeah, I did see last year that Arsenal promised to reduce ticket prices, I think, for under-16s for the whole of next season.
Yeah, that's what they've done, and they also released a few days ago after the protests that for away supporters, that due to the fact that they were charging the same prices for youngsters and like the older generation, they've decided to lower the prices for the away under 18s as well.
That's good. I mean, often Arsenal are criticised because we have the highest prices, but there is some good work that goes on in bringing down prices for the fans.
Yeah, especially this season, definitely.
Yeah.
And I think that's the topic that will wrap up our podcast. Jesus. Thanks to everyone for listening. We appreciate it. It's our first time podcasting together, so hopefully it'll get better as time goes on. But nonetheless, we hope you enjoyed it, and we also have Gulen back next week, hopefully, to complete the panel. So thanks again for listening, and goodbye.